Let's talk about Devin Vassell's injury and preview tonight's Spurs-Grizzlies game.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's Fight San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's Fight Plus app, YouTube. And thank you for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network the number one in this nation. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. What are we talking about today? We haven't had a chance to talk about this, but Devin Vassell's been sidelined with an injury. What happened now? Should we be worried? Is this just another season where he's not available? That's kind of been the knock on his career so far in San Antonio. Then preview tonight's Spurs-Grizzlies game. And then, if time permitting, we'll get into some Locked On Spurs fan comments. We got a guy who's very, very busy today. Just going to bring him on. He is Box Score Studio's very own Rudy Campos. Make sure to follow him on X at Box Score Studio. Rudy, welcome to Locked On Spurs.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, it's a busy day.
All right, well, let's get to it so you can get Rudy out of here. Devin Vassell, he is out once again. The Spurs recently released a press release basically just saying that he suffered an adductor sprain, stomach issues, and he will be out for several games. Actually, we don't know how many games he'll be out. The Spurs just said they'll provide updates as needed. I got it right here. The official announcement says the San Antonio Spurs today announced that Devin Vassell underwent an MRI and revealed he has a left adductor strain. The injury occurred in Monday's game against the Cavs. The team will provide update as appropriate. As there you have it. Rudy, this has kind of been the knock on him, but kind of thing you always expect. There's a bad thing, of him getting hurt and being sidelined for a while. That's pretty much been almost every season that he's been in the league. And here we go again. Rudy, it's interesting. I find it interesting. The Spurs put a release for Devin Vassell's injury, but they didn't put a release for Victor Wembanyama's injury. But that's a whole other story there. I got to ask you, Rudy, is this just life with Devin at this point? He likely will never finish out an 82-game season, or is this just one of those things that every player gets hurt no matter what level of star you are in the league?
The thing to remember is, if you want to go generation to generation, the 80s and 90s, a lot of these guys played through injuries and now you're going into this generation of basketball, and even the smallest injuries are going to require you to sit out. A lot of coaches, because of what they're paying the players to, you got to remember it's an investment for them. So they don't want their players getting even more injured. I think as far as Devin goes, it's serious, but not super serious. I think if it was something that was going to be months and going to take a while to recover, I think the Spurs would have initially said, hey, it'd be a couple of months before we actually get him back. Right now, it's not just a day-to-day process, but it's going to be maybe I would say 5 or 6 games. So when they mention a few games, it's going to be 5 or 6 games. Nothing really too concerning right now, unless it gets to be further into the season. I would say that's kind of the knock on Devin. One of them is, his availability, but it's not surprising to me these days. I think, can we be honest and be clear that maybe Keldon Johnson has been the most available Spurs year to year. So
he has been.
I mean, it's something that we just get used to seeing when it comes to like Devin and other players.
I'll throw in Julian Champagnie as well. He did an Ironman year last season, and so far doing that again this year. But as far as Devin concerned, look what he was averaging this season through 32 games, 31 minutes per game, 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, total of 29 steals, a total of 15 blocks, and shooting about 43% from the field. And this is where I think the Spurs are going to miss him most, and you're starting to see it over the last few games. He shot 38% from the 3 line. He was one of their better 3-point shooters of this team, and I can see exactly right there where the Spurs they're definitely going to feel his absence across the board, but particularly from the 3 line. Yeah, going back to his injury, again, everybody, by the way, we will have more on this, more of a breakdown on tomorrow's Locked On Spurs. Dr. Ryan McCorkle is going to come on and talk about what an adductor strain is, and also catch up on other injuries throughout the league and the Spurs. But, I think it's interesting. The Spurs have proven they can win without Wemby, 9-3 when he was gone in that extended time. And this time they're kind of sputtering without Vassell. I'm not trying. Am I making a leap here, Rudy? Am I stretching it too far? Do you think perhaps his absence is being felt more over the last few games? I mean, they're 1-2 in the last 3 games. Feels like that 3 shot is missing right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because we kind of mentioned it on lockdown throughout the season. How Devin, under Mitch Johnson and the new coaching regime has kind of, taken a big step forward, forward on his game. And it kind of shows, the Spurs are missing some of that 3-point shooting. And it's not necessarily like he's shooting at Steph Curry pace or anybody like that. But what they're missing are those key moments that Devin is knocking down the 3 or getting an and one. It's those moments during the game that you don't have anymore. There's like the team is missing that, 1 or 2 points that you get from Devin from time to time. You're seeing guys like Harrison Barnes starting to struggle a little bit more. You're seeing this team just struggle overall. And yeah, I mean, he's a key component and he's been a really big key component this season.
Yeah, I look at Devin and I feel that's exactly what they miss him the most is to be able to spread the floor. And he can do that as far as the numbers shown. And I think what also sucks is that this year it felt like he was finally starting to get his role, Rudy, that he was finally starting to understand his role. He's not the guy. He's not the second option, probably not the third option, but he's hovering around the third or the fourth option. But it looks like he finally embraced that. Now, look, he's not out for the season. He'll be back. But I just hope that doesn't disrupt his rhythm. And look, it is. You get away from the game. You lose your legs, you lose your basketball legs, I should say, your wind. He'll be back. But do you think it's his absence, for as long as it may be, will disrupt the team? Again, where they're 1-2 over the last 3 games. I don't think so. I think if they can survive without Wemby, they can survive without Vassell, right?
Yeah, they can. They just got to find another guy to kind of step up into that role. And I mean, it's 82 games. Your team's not going to have, a streak where we're winning, 5 games in a row, but we're losing, 1 game and then back to winning 5. It's very rare that a team's going to, have that kind of success throughout a season. But this is where, finding that next man up, that same mentality that the Spurs have had year in and year out. That's where this comes in. Who's going to be able to step up and hit those key shots when you need it, be able to spread the floor more? Could it be a guy like David Jones-Garcia, who's in Austin, maybe get called up a little bit, who can kind of spread the floor a little bit? You saw what he did. He's doing in Austin. You also saw what he did in Summer League. Devin, if you guys want to go back in time a little bit, Devin has that same role as like Steven Jackson did with the Spurs. He's not necessarily the second or third option, but he's a scoring option that can come in here and give you 20 plus points a night, from time to time. And that's kind of where he fits on this roster right now. But feeling the burden of Devin being out, I don't see it being a really bad thing. I think the Spurs will be fine. They just got to find that next guy up to kind of give him those minutes that Devin was giving and those key shots that he was making.
Yeah, I think that next guy up has been Julian Champagnie. He's been playing very, very well of late. 36 points recently, a career high, knocking down the 3 shot. I talked to De'Aaron Fox recently about Champagnie, and he told me how much of a game changer he is, especially if that shot is falling. So the Spurs definitely see Champagnie right now stepping up in that role. You look at what Devin was doing before the injury. He had, I'm going to count him here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row, starting from December 13th to December 23rd of double-figure scoring. And then before he got hurt, he dropped 11 versus Utah in a loss and then 7 in a loss versus the Cavs. So, you also look at it too. I mean, he's shooting well from the 3 line, as we talked about. I think that's the biggest issue right now. With his biggest absence is that shot. He's been connected about 6, 7, 4, 3. I mean, he's knocking them down. Overall, I think the Spurs will feel the pinch of him not being there. He is a veteran. He's been with the system for a while. He's been with Coach Johnson for a while now. You take him out, and that's going to throw off a lot of the rhythm, a lot of the chemistry, not just for Devin, but for the rest of the team. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Again, we'll get more into this tomorrow on Locked On Spurs with Dr. Ryan McCorkle. He's going to get the medical side of this and so much more. All right, well, what do y'all think about Devin Vassell being out yet again? This is just a sign that he's just injury prone, or no, this is just another season and just any player getting hurt at any time. Let Rudy know on X at Box Score Studio. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. When we get back, we're going to preview tonight's Spurs-Grizzlies game. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings up the new boosts, bonuses, and surprises. The timing is perfect, right before games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday with basketball without even overthinking it. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only at FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA. Hey, let's talk about Quo. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look to the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way, and there is. Streamlining your communications is just one of the quickest upgrades you can make, and that is why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one spot, you're just not just working cleaner. You're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees full conversation threads, which makes replies faster and more personal. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps so details never slip through the crack. It's no surprise Quo is the number one rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this a year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Spurs, compatible with Apple's Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for just listeners of this show and, well, hanging out with a lot of other fans on Discord. You want to go to this website right now, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Go there right now, or just tap the link in the show notes to learn more. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Rudy Campos. He is with Box Score Studio. Follow him on X at Box Score Studio. Your Spurs take on the Memphis Grizzlies tonight in Memphis. This is the second set of 3 sets of back-to-back games for the Spurs. Thhank you, NBA schedule makers. They hopefully will be able to take care of business tonight, Rudy, versus Memphis. They're coming into tonight's game not playing well. They have 4 straight losses, Rudy. They're not getting to the free throw line in the last 4 games. And they're not shooting the ball over the last 2 games. They have a lower field goal percentage than the opposition. And this is good for the Spurs. In the last 2 games, they have a lower 3-point percentage. So, yay, Spurs. That's some history on your side right there. Rudy, we look at tonight's matchup versus the Spurs. I always get nervous with Memphis because Memphis seems to always get up for the Spurs.
Yeah, they always seem to do, right? You always talk about Memphis and you're thinking, oh, this should be an easy game for this.
Yeah, it should be.
It never really is. And it's, it can go from anywhere from, the big guys playing well to Memphis starting to shoot like they, never shot before.
I know, right?
And it's a lot of different things with Memphis, and it's so crazy. But nonetheless, I think, the Spurs have kind of been on a little down streak lately. this could be the game to kind of get them back on the right path. Hopefully the coaching staff is able to get these guys mentally prepared for Memphis. Even though Memphis isn't one of the juggernauts that they have been in previous seasons, they can always come up. I mean, we saw teams like Utah, who's, continually been struggling throughout the season. They came up on the Spurs and they put a little bit of a lecking on the Spurs this past, couple of games ago. Hopefully Memphis doesn't do the same thing. Coaching staff kind of gets the mindset of the guys going. But yeah, I kind of expect the Spurs to come out victorious. But those Memphis Grizzlies, man, you just never know with them.
Yeah, you just never know. I think didn't they play recently in San Antonio, like some random player connected on some crazy amount of 3 shots.
Yeah.
It was just so ridiculous. But no, Rudy, as always, it starts with Triple J and Ja Morant, huh?
Yeah, it really does. And the biggest guy that always has the biggest concern for me is Jaren Jackson. I mean, shot blocker, great defender. Once he gets hot on the offensive side, it's very, very difficult to beat Memphis. They got a lot of size as well. They got a lot of good players. They got a lot of really good players. You never know what Memphis team's going to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And size is a factor whenever the Spurs are on the court. And the Spurs seem to struggle against big teams. I believe Zach Edey is out for a while, right? He got injured.
Yeah, I believe he's still out.
Yeah.
He should still be out. As of this game, he should still be out.
Yeah. So that should help the Spurs. Hopefully Edey does get better, but again, that benefits the Spurs. Hey, Rudy, can I share with you my 3 keys to a Spurs win?
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Put them on your screen here. Win the boards battle. And I bring this up because the Spurs and Grizzlies, when it comes to rebounding, they're one of the better teams in the league. Right now, we're here. The Grizzlies are 5th in the NBA and in rebounding at 45.8, while the Spurs are 2nd in the NBA right now with 46.4. It gets even better. Offensive rebounding, the Grizzlies are 15th in the NBA, averaging 11.5 per game. So they definitely get the second chance opportunities. But the Spurs, 11.8, good for 12th in the NBA. Defensive rebounding is still close. Spurs are 4th. Grizzlies are 6th. Grizzlies 34.3 defensive reboundings. Spurs 34.6. How key are rebounding and winning that battle? The Spurs are 18-6 when they have more defensive rebounds, 18-5 when they have more offensive rebounds, and 20-6 when they out-rebound in total the opposition. Second key, watch for Memphis's facilitation, those assists. Why? Because one thing the Grizzlies do is they know how to facilitate. They're 6th in the NBA, Rudy, at 29.1 dimes per game, and they're 13-9 when they have more assists than the opposition. And I think this goes without saying, Rudy. Defend the 3-shot. How many times are we pulling our hair out over the last few games? The Spurs, they're not making them fine, but stop the other team, and they're not even stopping them. Rudy, your reaction to the keys to victory?
Absolutely agree. I mean, the rebounding battle is something that the Spurs have to control. They have to win. That kind of goes for every team in the NBA. If you're able to rebound the ball and control the boards, you're probably going to come out with the victory. With Zach Edey, with Jaren Jackson, you kind of got to keep him off the boards. But Luke Cornett's been doing a fantastic job.
Sure,
and also, as Sport mentioned before, Julian Champagnie, he's been crashing the boards a whole lot lately as well. It's got to be a team rebounding mentality. You've got to get guys like Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox. Everybody's got to crash the boards. The biggest thing for me was defend the 3-shot. These guys can shoot the 3 ball like nobody's business. Once they get going, the Spurs have been doing a really bad job defending that 3-point arc. And guys like Dylan, guys like Stephon, Darren, they've got to be able to close out a little bit better on some of these 3-point shooters. But again, you're kind of in the elixir. You're out Victor, you're out Devin. You've been kind of going through a little bit of a struggle. So to bounce back, it's just kind of got to, what I hate to mention, the Duke Blue Devils do. They slam the floor on the defensive side and they play aggressive defense. And that's something that San Antonio's got to do. But great keys to victory for you right there.
Thank you. I'm going to leave him up here just a few more seconds here. You want to add anything to a key to victory, or you think you're good with these?
One thing I want to add to this is the thing is, I think they've got to attack Memphis and get to the free throw line as much as possible. They've got to be aggressive. They got to get to the free throw line shooting woes for San Antonio have been kind of going on lately. A lot of people will tell you that in the NBA and when you play basketball in general, getting to the free throw line is key because you're able to get into a rhythm. You're able to you want to see the basketball go down in the basket. You want to make some kind of something like that. Being aggressive against Memphis is a big key for me. Get to the free throw line, get as many opportunities at the free throw line as possible, get them in foul trouble, just overall, but just be aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are our keys to a Spurs win, and there's probably a lot more. But heading into the game, the Spurs are coming off a loss to the Blazers at home, 115-110. Again, they kind of been sputtering a bit. I want to get your thoughts over the last few games before we hit the break here.
Sure.
What do you chalk up their kind of against dip right now? Again, they did win versus New York, but it took a heck of a comeback. They lost to the Jazz. They lost to the Blazers. Do you think this is just them kind of hitting the wall already?
Oh yeah. See that, we've talked a lot, you and I, about, the first 20, 25 games of the season, how the schedule was kind of, it's not mediocre, it wasn't a really tough schedule. Could be, coming off and hitting that wall. I mean, you've had such a great start to the season, then you haven't really had that, you haven't really hit that wall. You haven't really had any issues or anything like that outside of injuries. So now you kind of see them maybe hitting that wall. And the thing that they've got to understand too is it's a long season, man. Three games doesn't define what your season's going to be. Other teams are going through it. Denver's going through, a massive injury bug right now. I'm sure OKC, they may potentially go through an injury bug here pretty soon. So it's just keeping positive, staying positive, and understanding that 3 games doesn't determine exactly how your season's going to go. They've got to continue to fight. They've got to continue to improve. And something like against Memphis, if they can come out and beat Memphis by, I would say, about 10, 15, I mean, then you're probably going to see a different Spurs team, similar to what we've seen in the first, 30-plus games.
Absolutely. And also, too, we got the Lakers tomorrow night. So, yeah. Again, the Spurs, though, keep it in perspective. Right? Yeah, they're in San Antonio for that game. But keeping these in perspective, the Spurs are 25-10. Still have the second best record in the West. So the sky is not falling. Hopefully it's a good game tonight. He is Rudy Campos of the Box Score Studio. Be sure to follow my nights at Box Score Studio and let me know what you think about tonight's game. Spurs-Grizzlies at Jeff G. Spurs Zone. When we get back, we got time. We got time just for one Locked On Spurs fan comment. Let's talk about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. During basketball seasons, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing for what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few steps. See the views from your seat before buying, making choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, and the total is clear from start. Featured with zone deals to help unlock great seats and even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time app today. Get in on the action. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Rudy Campos. He is on X at Box Score Studio. More on that later. Hey, it's time for you guys, Locked On Spurs fan comments. What are y'all talking about at the Locked On Spurs fan page? Let's dive into it. This is from at KMCKJF9CO. Wonder what that stands for. But he left a list, a 3-point outline, reacting to a recent episode of Locked On Spurs where we go over our Spurs New Year's resolutions. So his first resolution, Rudy, is he wants to see better perimeter defense. Majority of the losses fall on not contesting threes. Let's take that point first, Rudy. Yeah, I mean, if there's any, hiccups with this team, it's, man, and you would think, Rudy, with perimeter defenders like Castle, something from Harper, even Carter Bryant out there, that they would be better. But what do you think about that? They just seem better perimeter defense.
I think I'm more shocked that you didn't start my New Year off with a comment that's going to be attacking me like all your Locked On Spurs fans do. But when it comes to perimeter defense, especially at 3-point line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Stephon Castle, who is regarded as one of the best up-and-coming two-way players in the game. You've seen guys, mention Devin as well, but, Dylan Harper needs to learn how to close out a little bit better. He's doing a good job, but it's just getting back and closing out. Same thing with De'Aaron Fox. I mean, De'Aaron Fox could easily average, 2.5, almost 3 steals a game if he really wanted to. But, I mean, it's just a perimeter defense. And, again, it's something that you're looking at 10 losses. Out of those 10 losses, maybe 5 of them have come off where they haven't been able to close out on the 3-point range. I mean, most notably the Utah Jazz recently with Larry Marpet kind of going off. It's not a whole lot of losses where they're not closing out on the 3-point range. It's just a few of them here and there, but I get it. It's a glaring need that they've got to bounce back from. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they'll be fine. I'm firmly believe right now this is just a kind of a wall, an early wall they hit. Yeah. Think about it too. They played in the Cup final run. They played in the Cup finals. 3 emotional games versus the Thunder. A lot of travel time they've had already in the season, and the road trip's not even close yet. So, crazy times. All right, his second point or resolution he'd like to see is make threes. We have 3 shooters. They're just not hitting. Barnes, Champagnie, Vassell. Wemby is a big guy. He needs better spacing. Yeah, I think that's obvious there, KM. Heading into this new season, that was on the scheme, if you will, for the Spurs. Like, hey, how do you slow them down? Well, give them the 3-shot. And they have good 3-point shooters, but these are not snipers. Maybe Champagnie is like the lone sniper they got. I throw in Vassell maybe. But Barnes, you mentioned, he's kind of cooled off a bit. Harper, he's still a work in progress. Castle's still a work in progress. Carter Bryant is definitely a work in progress. But it's fine. I've talked to Champagnie about this earlier in the season. I go, hey, they always knock the Spurs team for not having 3 shooters. Obviously, he's going to tell me this, but he and I looked down the locker room. He's like, no, that guy can shoot. He looked at Waters. He goes, that guy can shoot. He looked at Fox. He went down the line. Do you still think this is just a big Achilles heel of the Spurs team, that they can't have reliable 3 snipers outside of maybe Champagnie?
No, to me, it's not. I mean, if you look at overall, they're shooting better as a team, when it comes to 3-point shooting. It's just kind of a small period right now where you're not, knocking down the 3 ball. It tends to happen. But, I mean, as mentioned, Julian Champagnie, Lindsey Waters, once he gets more playing time, I mean, he'll be able to get into a rhythm. It's still relatively early in the season. You're starting to see Stephon Castle knocking down threes at a better rate than what he has been from his rookie season. But either De'Aaron Fox, I mean, it's still 53 ball. Harrison Barnes can get hot at any time. He's a pretty good 3-point shooter, especially from the corners. I think it's something that, again, it's like smoke screen right now. They're a better shooting 3-point team than what they have been. They don't have, quote unquote, like you mentioned, snipers, like a Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, anything like that. But they've got guys that can knock down 3-point shots. It's just a matter of it's more glaring when they miss a whole bunch, and fans tend to not notice when they're actually making them, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. All right. His final point is he wants to see more Wemby closing games. Fox is Mr. Clutch, but when he's not hitting, we need a solidified closer in Wemby. Interesting. I pretty much seen Wemby in closing / crunch time, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we've all seen him in crunch time. Let's look at it this way. Is he saying that when Wemby closes games, put the ball in Wemby's hands to close out a game? I don't want to see that in the perimeter. That's for sure. I don't want to see, because in those types of games, in those types of situations, there's a good amount of times, not a majority of times, but a good amount of times he tends to turn the ball over or not make the correct decision. And that just has to do with age and learning of the game in the NBA. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'd rather see the ball in Fox's hands, Stephon Castle, somebody who can, make a play and has that guard mentality. I'm not saying Wemby doesn't have the guard mentality, but again, I'd rather see him close out games down below. A la Tim Duncan, David Robinson, these guys right there. Put him in the post. Let him close out a game there. the higher the closer he is to the basket, the higher the percentage of him making that basket is. So, yes, closeout games for Wemby, more in the post, but don't put the ball in his hands, beyond the 3-point arc and let him, win a game or close a game. That's going to probably fail more than it is going to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for those comments there, or that one big comment from KM. We definitely appreciate it. Keep them coming. He is Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. What is Box Score?
Yeah, Box Score, you could go to YouTube and search Box Score Studio TV. You can hit that subscribe button. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that has recently subscribed. We are over 2.2K subscribers now. Thanks to the Derek Gervin documentary, which you can find exclusively only on Box Score Studio TV on YouTube.
There you go. And just for all information, just follow Rudy on X at Box Score Studio. It's probably the best way and the easiest way to get caught up on what Rudy has cooking over there at Box Score Studio. Rudy, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. We definitely appreciate it. I know you got to go, so we'll get you out of here. Hey, everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Campos 5 Plus app, YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow as the Spurs regular season continues. By the way, check out the NBA Everydayer Club. Pretty much ad-free shows right here on Locked On Spurs. Exclusive access to a Discord channel. You can chat it up regarding the games. You just want to go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Do that right now. And as you probably heard, we'll be back tomorrow, again, just quickly, with Dr. Ryan McCorkle and a very special guest. He's going to come on for a segment. Dr. McCorkle, as you all know, he comes on every so often throughout the season, talking about the latest injury bug hitting the Spurs. This time, Vassell, and we're going to be discussing Wemby. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.